A successful young entrepreneur discovers a 12-year-old black boy performing an unexpected noble act of kindness, quietly giving his last piece of pie to a frightened toddler across the aisle, even after a flight attendant had just yelled "No food for you" and stormed away. What happens next is unbelievable. This is the story of Marcus, a boy with a secret bigger than the ocean he was crossing, and how one cruel moment on Flight for 72 sparked a chain of compassion that would heal hearts, expose prejudice, and ultimately change an entire airline forever. Let's go back to the beginning. In the chaotic terminals of one of the world's busiest airports in late 2024, the air still carried the weight of recent years. Post-pandemic recovery had left many families stretched thin, delayed flights, inflated ticket prices, exhausted workers, and a quiet hunger for human connection. Travelers from every continent rushed past one another, eyes glued to phones, hearts guarded. Among them walked 12-year-old Marcus Thompson, backpack slung over one shoulder, boarding pass clutched in small hands. To everyone around him, he looked like any other kid traveling alone, simple hoodie, jeans, and worn sneakers. No one knew the truth. Back home, Marcus lived in a sprawling estate most people only see in magazines. His father was the reclusive billionaire who quietly owned this very airline and dozens more. But Marcus's father had made a decision that changed everything. "Son, money can buy seats in first class," he'd said the night before, "but it can't buy character. I want you to feel the real world for once. Coach, no special treatment. Just you." Marcus had agreed, not out of rebellion, but out of deep love and longing. He missed his mother every single day. She had passed away from cancer 3 years earlier, leaving an emptiness no amount of private jets could fill. Late at night, in his quiet mansion, Marcus would stare at her photo and wonder, does kindness still exist when no one knows you're rich? Or do people only pretend when they think it benefits them? His daily routine had become a quiet battle for normalcy. Mornings spent in online classes where classmates never knew his last name. Afternoons practicing basketball alone because real friends were hard to trust. Evenings reading stories about ordinary heroes who changed the world with nothing but heart. He carried that hunger for real connection like a hidden backpack, heavy but hopeful. That hope brought him to Gate 47. He told the check-in agent the cover story his father had rehearsed, "I'm visiting my aunt in London." Simple. Believable. No one questioned the polite black boy traveling solo. Inside the long-haul cabin of Flight for 72, the air smelled of recycled oxygen and coffee. Dim reading lights glowed over rows of strangers. There was Mrs. Eleanor Hayes, a white retiree in her 70s heading home after visiting grandchildren. There was Mrs. Aisha Okoro and her 2 excited children, a Nigerian family finally reuniting after 4 years apart. And there, 3 rows ahead, sat Liam Chen, a sharp, self-made Asian entrepreneur in his early 30s, laptop open, chasing the next big deal in Europe. But Marcus didn't notice any of them yet. He simply took his middle seat in coach, buckled in, and whispered to himself, "Be kind, Marcus. Prove Dad right." Then came the moment everything shifted. Mid-flight, when the meal service began, Marcus politely raised his hand. "Excuse me, could I have the chicken option, please?" Carla Hargrove stopped. Years of low wages, rude passengers, and personal heartbreaks had hardened her. Today, something in her snapped. She looked at the young black boy traveling alone and barked loud enough for nearby rows to hear. "No food for you." She slammed the tray back into the cart and pushed on, leaving Marcus stunned, cheeks burning, stomach already aching from hours in the air. Hunger clawed at him. Isolation pressed in from every side. In that moment, Marcus felt smaller than ever, a boy trying to prove kindness existed in a harsh system, now facing the very opposite. But what he didn't know was that someone had been watching the entire time. In that heavy silence after Carla's harsh words, Marcus sat frozen. His hands rested in his lap, fingers twisting the strap of his backpack. No tears yet, he was too stunned for that. But the ache in his stomach wasn't just hunger anymore. It was the sharp sting of being seen, and then unseen. Dismissed. Across the aisle, Mrs. Eleanor Hayes, silver hair neatly pinned, reading glasses perched on her nose, had watched the entire exchange. She was 73, widowed for 12 years, flying home to an empty house in Manchester after spending 3 weeks with her daughter's family in Atlanta. She knew loneliness the way some people know old songs, by heart. Eleanor glanced at Marcus, then at the closed meal cart rolling away. Without a word, she reached into the small paper bag she'd kept from her airport sandwich. Inside was one extra dinner roll she hadn't eaten. She leaned over quietly. "Here, sweetheart," she whispered, holding it out like a secret. "It's not much, but it's still warm." Marcus looked up, startled. His eyes were wide, searching her face for pity. He didn't find any. Just kindness, plain, steady, no strings. He hesitated. Then, in a small voice, "Thank you, You didn't have to." Eleanor smiled, the kind of smile that carried decades. "I know. But I wanted to. Eat it slowly. Makes it last longer." Marcus took the roll with both hands, as if it were something fragile and precious. He broke off a tiny piece and put it in his mouth. The simple taste of bread, buttery, soft, felt like the first real thing that had happened to him all day. 2 rows behind, Mrs. Aisha Okoro had been watching too. She was traveling with her 10-year-old daughter Fatima and 7-year-old son Ibrahim. They'd spent for long years apart while Aisha worked double shifts in Lagos to bring the children over safely. Today was supposed to be joyful, their first flight together as a whole family again. But joy can pause when cruelty shows up. Aisha reached into her carry-on and pulled out a small cloth pouch filled with sliced mango and pineapple she'd packed from home. She stood, walked the 2 steps to Marcus's row, and crouched beside his seat so her children could see. "Would you like some fruit, young man?" she asked softly, her accent warm like sunlight. "It's fresh. My children love it." Marcus looked from Aisha to Fatima and Ibrahim. The little boy was already nodding enthusiastically, holding out a piece of pineapple like an offering. "Yes, please," Marcus said. His voice cracked just a little. Aisha placed 3 pieces in his palm. "My name is Aisha. This is Fatima and Ibrahim. We're going to see our new home in London. What's your name?" "Marcus," he answered quietly. Then, after a beat, "I'm going to see my aunt." It was still the cover story, but saying it now felt heavier. He didn't want to lie to these kind people. Aisha didn't press. She simply smiled. "Well, Marcus, you're not alone on this flight anymore." Up front, Liam Chen had closed his laptop 10 minutes earlier. He'd overheard Carla's sharp words and seen the boy's face fall. Liam wasn't sentimental by nature. He built apps, closed deals, lived by numbers. But something about the scene tugged at him. Maybe it was remembering his own mother working graveyard shifts at a restaurant when he was Marcus's age, bringing home leftover rice for dinner. Liam stood, walked back casually, and stopped at Marcus's row. "Hey," he said, voice calm but friendly. "I've got something that might help pass the time." He pulled a small deck of playing cards from his jacket pocket, the kind he used to practice card tricks during long layovers. "Ever played Speed?" Liam asked. Marcus shook his head. Liam grinned. "It's easy. Fast. And it makes you forget you're hungry for a minute." He sat on the armrest of the empty seat beside Marcus and dealt 2 quick hands. First one to get rid of all their cards wins. "Ready?" Marcus looked at the cards, then at Liam. For the first time since takeoff, a tiny smile flickered. "Okay," he said. They played 3 rounds. Marcus won the second one. Fatima cheered from across the aisle. Ibrahim clapped. Even Eleanor chuckled and clapped along. During the 3rd round, Marcus spoke softly while matching cards. "My mom used to play cards with me before she got sick." Liam paused, just for a second. Then he kept playing, slower now. "I'm sorry," he said simply. "That's hard." Marcus nodded. "Yeah. But she always said, even when things are bad, you can still choose to be kind. It's the one thing nobody can take away." Liam looked at the boy, really looked. "Your mom sounds like she was right." The game ended. Marcus had won again. He laughed, a small, surprised sound that made the whole row feel lighter. Carla Hargrove, pushing the beverage cart back through, slowed as she passed. She saw the cards. The fruit. The roll wrapper crumpled in Marcus's hand. The quiet laughter. For the first time in years, something cracked inside her chest, not anger, but something softer. Something she hadn't felt in a long time. She kept walking, but slower. In that pressurized metal tube above the Atlantic, something invisible had begun to shift. One denied meal. One roll. One piece of fruit. One deck of cards. Small gestures linking strangers into something stronger. Marcus looked around at the faces now watching him with quiet care. His eyes shimmered, not with tears of pain this time, but something closer to wonder. For the first time, he felt seen. Not because of who his father was, but because of who he was. Before we continue with this incredible journey, I spent countless hours researching and crafting this story to bring you something truly meaningful. If stories like this touch your heart and you want to see more acts of kindness that restore faith in humanity, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. It means the world to me and helps these important stories reach others who need to hear them. Now, let's see what happens next. Have you ever witnessed an act of kindness that completely changed your perspective? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one. What started as one roll, one piece of fruit, one deck of cards began to spread like soft light through the cabin. Strangers who had boarded as isolated dots on a seating chart were now connected, not by destination, but by the simple choice to care. Mrs. Eleanor Hayes stayed close. She pulled out an old photo from her wallet, her late husband smiling beside her on their 50th wedding anniversary cruise. "See this," she said to Marcus, voice low. "We didn't have much when we started, but we always shared what we had, even when it was just stories." Marcus looked at the faded photo. "He looks happy." "He was," Eleanor replied. "Because we never let the hard days win." Across the aisle, Fatima and Ibrahim had moved to sit on the floor near Marcus's feet, airline rules be damned for a moment. Fatima showed him drawings she'd made on the back of the safety card, a big airplane with smiling faces in every window. "This is us now," she said proudly, pointing to a little stick figure with a backpack. "You?" Marcus smiled, a real one this time. "I like the backpack." Aisha watched her children with quiet pride. She turned to Marcus. "You're very brave, traveling alone. My heart would break if Fatima or Ibrahim had to do this." Marcus swallowed. The cover story felt thinner with every kind word. "It's not easy," he admitted. "But my dad says it's important to understand how other people feel." Liam, still perched on the armrest, nodded slowly. "Your dad sounds like a smart man." For the next hour, the little group grew. A middle-aged white businessman 2 rows up offered his noise-cancelling headphones so Marcus could listen to music. A young Latina college student shared her phone charger. Even a quiet Indian software engineer passed back a packet of spicy chickpeas from his snack stash. Laughter floated, soft at first, then freer. Stories were traded, Eleanor's tales of post-war rationing in England, Aisha's memories of bustling Lagos markets, Liam's first failed startup that almost broke him but taught him resilience. Marcus listened more than he spoke, soaking it in like dry soil after rain. And Carla Hargrove, she kept passing by. Each time her trolley rolled past, she moved slower. She saw the shared food, heard the gentle voices, watched Marcus's shoulders relax. Something inside her twisted, shame, regret, defensiveness all at once. She had been that flight attendant for 22 years. She had seen rudeness, entitlement, exhaustion. But she had never seen this, a cabin choosing warmth over silence after cruelty. During one pass, she stopped, looked directly at Marcus. Her voice came out quieter than anyone expected. I was out of line earlier. Marcus met her eyes. No anger. Just honesty. It hurt, he said simply. But it's okay. People make mistakes. Carla blinked hard. She nodded once, sharp, almost military, and kept moving. But her hands trembled slightly on the cart handle. Then came the obstacle no one saw coming. Turbulence hit, sudden, hard. The seatbelt sign dinged on. Overhead bins rattled. A few gasps rippled through the cabin. The plane dropped, steadied, dropped again. Marcus gripped the armrests. His breathing quickened. Not just fear of the shaking, fear of the memories. The last time he'd felt this helpless was in the hospital room when machines beeped slower and slower around his mother. Liam noticed immediately. Hey! Look at me. Breathe with me. In, out. Eleanor reached across and took Marcus's hand without asking. Aisha pulled her children closer but kept eye contact with Marcus, mouthing, "We're here." The turbulence lasted for long minutes. When it finally eased, the cabin exhaled together. But the shaking had cracked something open in Marcus. Tears slipped down his cheeks, quiet, unstoppable. "I miss her," he whispered. "My mom. She used to hold my hand just like that when I was scared." No one spoke for a long beat. Then Eleanor squeezed his hand tighter. "She's still holding it, love. Through all of us." Liam leaned in. "You don't have to carry it alone tonight." Aisha added softly, "Family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's who shows up when the plane shakes." Marcus wiped his face with his sleeve. "Thank you. All of you." The moment hung, fragile, beautiful, raw. But doubt crept in. As the cabin quieted again, Marcus stared at his hands. These people had been kind without knowing anything about him. What would happen when they learned the truth? Would they feel tricked? Used? Would the kindness turn sour? And Carla, she had retreated to the galley. Alone now, she leaned against the counter, eyes closed. Years of justifying her sharpness collided with the image of a 12-year-old boy forgiving her anyway. The weight pressed down. She whispered to herself, "What have I become?" The flight still had hours to go. Bonds had deepened. Trust had begun to root. But obstacles, internal and unspoken, loomed larger than any storm cloud outside. The question wasn't just whether kindness could survive one cruel moment. It was whether it could survive the truth. Have you ever had to overcome obstacles to help someone you cared about? What challenges did you face? Share your experience below. The final hours of flight for 7-2 felt different. The cabin no longer felt like a metal tube suspended in the sky. It felt like a small village that had chosen, against every reason, to care for one of its own. Marcus hadn't slept much. He kept replaying the night, the roll from Eleanor, the fruit from Aisha, the cards with Liam, the hand-holding during turbulence, Carla's quiet apology. Each moment stacked like stones building something solid inside him. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was starting to believe. As the captain announced descent into London Heathrow, the seatbelt sign chimed on for the last time. Passengers gathered bags, exchanged small goodbyes. But around Marcus's row, no one rushed. Eleanor leaned over. "You'll be all right, love. You've got good people looking out for you, even ones you just met." Aisha hugged him gently. "If you ever need anything in this big world, remember, family finds family." Fatima slipped a folded drawing into his hand, the airplane with smiling faces, now with one extra stick figure labeled Marcus in bright crayon. Liam stood, offered a fist bump. "You're tougher than most adults I know. Keep choosing kind, yeah?" Marcus nodded, throat tight. "I will." Then Carla appeared. She had changed into her landing uniform, hair smoothed back, but her eyes were red-rimmed. She stopped at his row, hands clasped in front of her. "Marcus," she said, voice low so only he could hear. "I was wrong. Completely wrong. I let my own bitterness. I took it out on a child. There's no excuse." Marcus looked up at her. No judgment. Just clarity. "I forgive you," he said simply. "But maybe you can be kinder to the next kid who flies alone." Carla's lip trembled. She nodded once, sharply, then walked away, head higher than it had been all flight. In the jet bridge, the group lingered. No one wanted to break the circle just yet. Then Marcus stopped. He turned to them all, Eleanor, Aisha, and the kids, Liam, even a few others who had joined quietly overnight. "There's something I need to tell you," he said, voice steady but soft. My dad, he owns this airline. The whole thing. He sent me in coach so I could understand real people. Not just rich people pretending. Silence. Eyes wide. Liam blinked. Wait. You. Marcus nodded. I didn't tell you because I wanted to know if kindness was real when no one knew who I was. And it is. Because of all of you. Eleanor laughed, a surprised, delighted sound. Well, I'll be. Aisha covered her mouth, tears shining. You beautiful boy. Marcus took a breath. I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm telling you because I want to make things better. For everyone who flies. No one should feel what I felt last night. I'm going to ask my dad to start empathy training for all the crew. Real training. And I want to help make it happen. Liam grinned slowly. You've got my number now. If you need help building that program, count me in. Eleanor squeezed his shoulder. And if you need an old lady to tell stories to new flight attendants about what real kindness looks like, I'm your woman. Aisha hugged him again. We'll be praying for you, Marcus. Every step. Months later. Marcus speaks clearly to a room of executives, trainers, and a few flight attendants, including Carla, who now wears a small pin that reads Kindness Ambassador. I was 12, Marcus begins. I was hungry, scared, and alone. One person said no food for you. But then strangers said yes. Yes to sharing. Yes to listening. Yes to staying. That's what changed everything. He clicks to a slide, photos from passengers' phones, the roll, the fruit, the cards, the drawing. Real faces. Real moments. This program isn't about rules, he continues. It's about remembering we're all human at 35,000 feet. And humans, we can choose kindness. Every single time. Eleanor at home, video calling Marcus. Saw your program on the news, love. Proud of you. Aisha's new home in London. Fatima and Ibrahim wave at the camera. Tell Marcus we miss him. Liam in a coffee shop, laptop open, designing an app for passengers to anonymously nominate kind crew members. And Marcus, walking through an airport terminal, no longer hiding. He stops at a gate, sees a young girl traveling alone, looking nervous. He smiles, kneels down. Hey, he says softly. First time flying by yourself? She nods. He pulls a pack of gum from his pocket, the last piece just like he once gave away. Want some? It helps with your ears. She takes it. Smiles shyly. Marcus stands, watches her bored. Then he turns, walks on, head high, heart full. One denied meal sparked it all. One boy's courage to stay kind. One group of strangers who chose to show up. And the ripple keeps spreading. This story shows how one act of kindness can change everything. What's one way you could make a difference in someone's life today? Challenge yourself and share your commitment in the comments. 6 months turned into a year. And the small spark that began on flight for 72 never went out. Marcus Thompson is now 13. He still attends school online most days, but he's added something new to his routine: monthly visits to the Airline's training center. He sits with new flight attendants, people just starting their careers, and shares his story. Not as the owner's son. As the boy who was hungry, scared, and then seen. He speaks quietly, the way he always has. But now there's a quiet confidence behind his words. One person can make the cabin feel safe, or make it feel cold, he tells them. You get to choose which one you create. Carla Hargrove became one of the first official kindness ambassadors in the new program. She leads workshops now. She talks openly about that night, the exhaustion, the prejudice she didn't even realize was still inside her, the moment she saw a child forgive her anyway. I almost broke something precious, she says to trainees. But kindness gave me a second chance. Don't wait for your second chance to start being kind. Eleanor Hayes still lives in her small Manchester house filled with photos. She keeps a framed copy of Fatima's airplane drawing on her mantel, the one with Marcus added last. Every few weeks she video calls the children in London. They send her new drawings. She sends them stories. Family grows in the strangest places, she likes to say. Aisha Okoro and her family settled beautifully in their new home. Fatima and Ibrahim started school, made friends, learned new games. But they never forgot the boy on the plane. Every holiday, Aisha makes extra mango slices and sends photos to Marcus with the message, for the next time you're hungry for kindness. Liam Chen turned his idea into reality. The airline now has a passenger-nominated Kindness in the Sky award. Crew members who go above and beyond get recognized, publicly, with gift cards, extra days off, and a small ceremony. Liam still flies often for work. But now he always asks for a middle seat in coach. Best view of humanity, he jokes. And Marcus's father? He still keeps a low profile. But he watches his son with a pride he rarely shows the world. One evening, as they sat together on the balcony overlooking the city lights, he said simply, "I sent you to find the real world, son. I didn't expect you to bring so much of it back with you." Marcus smiled. "It was already there, Dad. People just needed someone to remind them." Stories like this remind us that extraordinary kindness exists all around us, sometimes hidden behind fatigue, behind prejudice, behind fear, but always waiting for permission to show up. This flight showed us that one denied meal can become thousands of shared ones. One moment of cruelty can be answered with hundreds of small yeses. One boy's courage reminded a whole cabin, and eventually a whole company, that compassion isn't a luxury. It's the only thing that makes the journey bearable. If this touched your heart, please like this video. It helps more people discover these inspiring stories. Subscribe for more tales of human kindness that will restore your faith in humanity. And most importantly, look for opportunities in your own life to be someone's unexpected blessing. What act of kindness will you perform this week? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one, and your stories keep this channel alive. Thank you for watching all the way through. Thank you for believing, like Marcus did, that kindness is still real. Remember, you have the power to change someone's entire world, one small gesture at a time.